Good morning my dear kids. Today we are going to learn evolution of computer. In this one lesson what we are going to learn, we are just recognizing some features where earliest calculating devices were there. Then after we are generation and we are comparing different types of generation of computer, and then after we are making a list of different features and different types of computer where is in advanced advantages and disadvantages and the limitation of it. Here first, as like you can see that earliest of the calculating device, here it is very easily mentioned that earliest calculating device was known as abacus, which is developed at 2700 BC. The abacus is one of the earliest counting machine used even today for performing some quick calculation also. It is also called an counting frame. It was designed to carrying out some simple calculations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and so on. Here in abacus comprised with different types of rectangular wooden frame on which the vertical rods are fixed. These rods consist of bricks that side on it. It has two sections, namely heaven and upper deck, and earth is lower deck. The heaven and the earth deck is divided by a bar. On each rod is having 5 units. On the earth is having 1 unit. For an example, if you pull down a heaven by 2 on upside and 2 earth on the right side, it will just make it at 12. You can just see this one bar and clearly figure here, which is on upside is clearly mentioned that heaven part and downside is earth part with a different braid and mid bar also. Next one part is for the Napier bones. Napier bones was invented about 402 years ago by Scottish mathematician J.P. Napier. Okay, so John Napier, he was a great mathematician at his own time. It was considered to be a world's first calculator that could multiply, divide and find some square roots of numbers, and it consists of 9 different strips on bone with numbers written on them. As like it arranged of these strips was done such a way that multiplication and division of large numbers could be done very easily. It was also called a Napier bones rod and looks it very example of 7th table illustrated on Napier bones. Like here you can see very clearly my dear kids, as like with the help of this Napier bone stone, you can just clearly see that 7 ones are 7, 7 twos are 14, which is 1 is written on top side and 4 is written on bottom side. Here it is very clear. Earlier at the time of Napier bones, it was developed on animal bones only. स्टार्टिंग के एनिमल बोन्स पर ही नेपियर बोन्स का टेबल था, वो प्रिंटेड हुआ करता था. दैट्स व्हाई इट्स हैविंग द बोन ऑफ the name itself, but afterwards it developed on a wooden frame, so it was used very in large number also. That's why it's arranged it very properly for making it all the calculation very easy way. Pascaline calculator. Here Pascal's calculator or Pascaline was developed by Blaise Pascal to help his father as a tax collector in his laboratories calculation. It was the first ever mechanical calculating machine or calculator with a numeric wheels. Let me show this one figure with enlarge it. Here we can see that this Pascaline machine is having an upside and some numbers on it, which is printed are like 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 1. As like whenever we are just rotating it, that wheel, it is getting a number on it, different numbers when we are rotating it from the front to left or left to right. It is just showing a different number on it, and it will just make the calculation as little bit faster as compared to the different types of devices. Here the user had to rotate a numerical wheel on it. Whenever he just want to use or she want to use it, he just needed to just rotate the wheel only. Then it can be easily perform some addition, subtraction and so on. Arithmometer. Here it was invented by Thomas D. Clomer in 1820. It was the first successful and mass-produced calculator used in offices between 1851 to 1890. It was the only one type of mass-produced machine calculator. As an arithmeter, it could perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, and also it can perform some division also. But it was based on Leibniz technology difference engine, which is developed in 1822. The difference engine was created by Charles Babbage, as like he is the father of computer, as we all know that it was an automatic machine calculator that could calculate and hold 7 number with 31 digits, and each and automatically used to result from previous operation as inputted, मीन्स वो आपको 7 नंबर्स की कैलकुलेशन ऑफ डिजिट ऑफ 31 नंबर तक आपको आउटपुट में प्रेजेंट करके बता सकता है. इट कैन कंसिडर टू मेजर पार्ट्स, द कैलकुलेटिंग मशीन mechanism and printing the control mechanism also. The difference engine was strictly calculator that perform only arithmetic addition only. Next one, analytical engine. Charles Babbage could not complete the construction of the difference engine. However, he started to work on an improved version of the same, called later as the analytical engine. The analytical engine consists of memory unit called store and central processing unit is called mill. It had a facility for input and output data and instruction and could be programmed using punched card. As like you can see that nowadays we are having some strips of pages where our hotels and cinema hall they are giving us our regular bill. As like earliest old time they were having a wooden like thin one plate where the numbers are printed. As like the same thing analytical engine also punching on the wooden little bit thinner plate and then they were getting output from it. It was the first general purpose programmable computing machine having many features found on modern computer as well. Therefore, it is also considered as ancestor of modern computer. Now we are going to discuss some few points about generation of computer. As like computer generations are based on time period when major technology changes in computer occurs, and such as this vacuum tubes, transmitters, and microprocessor were developed also. The development of computer took place in various stages called generation as well. Each generation resulted in an increase with storage capacity, reliability, and speed, along with a decrease in cost and size as well. As in of 2019, we can divide computers into 5 generations. As like first generation of computer, which is having a series between 1940 to 1956. Here is some few most important point about it. Here, first generation of computer use vacuum tubes is like main technology. These tubes product as light heat similar to the electric bulb, where bronze frequency fusing and burn out they had and program using machine level language only. As like in first generation of computer, if you just think that numbers of vacuum tubes as like an halogen bulb, if at the same place halogen bulbs are placed in numbers of times at the same in some small distance only, so obviously it generates a lot of heat. That's why in first generation of computer it is generating too much lot of heat. And there are some example out there: ENIAC, EDIAC, ENIAC, IBM 701 and IBM 650. The ENIAC had more than 17,000 vacuum tubes on it. Just think that if this much vacuum tubes, I was like this many bulbs are there, then how much an electricity required for it and how many numbers of the power and fluctuation it should be there. Then advantages: vacuum tubes technology allows to development of electronic digital computer, and this computer could calculate in milliseconds. Means calculation is gone little bit faster at that age of time. Disadvantages also there: they were big in size, expensive, require large cooling system. Obviously if the vacuum tubes are there as like halogen bulbs, so obviously they require cooling system as well. This computer were less efficient due to the frequent breakdown. Obviously if this many higher in range of huge bulbs are there, then obviously breakdown things it will happen and it will not frequently work on very for a longer time. They consume as a very large amount of energy. Obviously the fourth generation of computers were not reliable and constant maintenance were required. So second generation of computer, the second generation of computer saw the use of transistors instead of vacuum tubes. You can see the transistor size is very small as compared to the vacuum tubes. So the invention of transistor is considered as one of the greatest in the world of electronic. Transistor use magnetic core memory which was faster and less expensive as compared to the vacuum tubes. They could be programmed using assembly language and high level programming language such as Fortran and COBOL. The example as in form of IBM 7070 means 7070, IBM 350 and RAC 501. Their advantages are right there as like size of computer was reduced, obviously very. Then the heat produced was less compared to the first generation. They were less expensive than the first generation of computer. They work at better speed and could calculate data in micro milliseconds. Disadvantages: a cooling system still required for it, constant maintenance were required, and it only used for specific purpose only. The third generation of computer in 1964 to 1971. The third generation of computer introduced to use IC. IC is long form IC integrated circuit in computers. An IC microscopic is circuit formed by placing many transistors and other electronic component on a small piece of semiconducting material. Here using an IC's computer help to reducing size of computer even more compressed second on different types of IC were placed. You can see whenever computers are used, it should work very faster and faster when the development is going on. Here when a size is reduced by computer even more compared to the second generation of computer, as an example of PDP-8, PDP-11, ICL 2900 and IBM 360 and IBM 370 as well. Here are some examples of advantages are right here as like this computer were cheaper, faster and more reliable compared to the second generation of computer. It is used of IC reduced size of computer where it improved their performance in a big way. Again, this generation of computer had a high speed and storage capacity as compared to the first and second generation of computer. Computation is timing is reduced and microseconds to nanosecond. Means whenever we are doing computing, means whenever हम जब उसके अंदर मैथमेटिक्स के कुछ क्विज करते हैं, again it's turned in nanosecond. Now disadvantages: IC chips were difficult to maintain and air cooling condition was required. Now fourth generation of computer which is having the duration as 1972 to 2010. The fourth generation of computer took advantages of invention of microprocessor, the more commonly known as central processing unit as in form of CPU, and it also came with VLSI, very large scale integrated circuits. The VLSI could fit thousands of integrated circuits onto a single chip only. This generation of computers saw development of network, which in turn lead to the rapid growth of internet. Development of GUIs, mouse, and other handheld devices were features in this generation as well. Advantages and examples. Example of this generation as desktop PC, IBM, and Macintosh by Apple. Advantages: the size of computer was further reduced, computation speed become much higher compared to previous generation of computer. Whenever we are just doing computing means उसके अंदर हम जब भी कैलकुलेशन करेंगे as like in first generation it is little bit slower, second generation little bit faster, third generation little bit more in nanosecond. Now as like we can see in this one third generation, it is the computing is relating much more faster as compared to the third generation. Less maintenance were required and a heat generator was very negligible. The types of high level languages could be used to fourth generation of computer as well. Disadvantages: the microprocessor design and fabrication is very complicated, and air condition is still required, and advanced technology is required to make an ICs of it. Means here we can see it very clearly, it is a microscopic, some ICs were placed on it, so it's required an advanced technology to prepare or to create this one. Fifth generation of computer. Here in fifth generation of computer, it is used ULSI, ultra large scale integration technology, which make it possible to produce microprocessor chip having millions of circuits element on single chip only. As like you can see, there is a small single chip which is placed on your screen right here. It is having a micro milliseconds per speed of processing things. Here, with the help of this fifth generation of computers are also using AI, artificial intelligence technology, which is made for possible using parallel processor and superconductor. With the help of these AI, computers can be made to think like human beings. The aim of fourth generation is to develop computer-based devices that can be respond natural language input that capable of self-learning and self-decision making. As like most powerful as like desktop, laptop, tablets, notebooks, smartphones, and so on. Some advantages are there. It is an high reliable work, extremely fast, and has unique feature. It provides computer with a more user-friendly interface along with the multimedia features. The fifth generation device can be extremely small in size and portable. Some few disadvantages also right there, that these device can be complex and sophisticated and therefore difficult to understand for many different peoples. So it requires some literacy, as like where we have done some courses in it, then it will just make user very eco-friendly with it. Next, as like categories of computer, the categories of computer is separated by different types of its own. As like microprocessor are small computer that run as like different one small chips. Here in mini computer, it is differently and properly maintained. Here is proper. Here, microprocessor, as in form of mini computer, is smallest computer which is run in microprocessor in the central processing unit. As just I discussed with you, microprocessor which is having a small chip inside of it. As like microcomputer, it is having that microprocessor in it where it is working as CPU, central processing unit, that they are much cheaper, affordable than all other categories of computer because they are made for everyday use. Common microcomputers includes laptop and desktop and other personal computers. With microcomputers are also include smartphone, notebook, workstation, and embedded system also. Mainframe computer, you can see the mainframe computer is multi-processing machine that can support about 200 users at the same time. It is less powerful than mainframe computer. They are very small in business side frame side. They are not meant to a single user. They are used for specific purpose only. Popularly, mainframe computer includes K202, SD922, and IBM mid-range computer. Mainframe computer. Mainframe computer are large, expensive, and powerful computer with high and speed processing that they can handle thousands of connected users at the same time. Mainframe generally used by large banks, universities, insurance companies, and government organizations to store data of customers, students, and politicians, policy holders. Some popular mainframe computers as Fusis ICL VME and Hites Z800. So supercomputers are also right there. Supercomputers are most powerful computer terms processing as like data where high in range and high populated data were analyzed at the same place where supercomputers are used. They generally consist of thousands of processors that are able to perform billions and trillions of calculation per second. Means where as like scientific area where we have to work on numbers of the thing at the same time, and we need an answer at the within fraction of second at the same place where supercomputers are used. They are very expensive and quite large in size. A supercomputer need to be kept in large air conditioner room. Some of can even occupy an entire building also. They are used to perform specialized tasks such as scientific simulation and weather forecasting, nuclear energy research, and earthquake studies, as like IBM Sequoia and Titany-1 and Perm computer. As like Perm computer is supercomputer which is designed assembled in India by CDI as like Pune. The right hand are minimum two application on this one computer. Now advantages of computer where it is very specialized thing. Speed. Computer can process complex operation within a second. Reliability. They are very reliable and they rarely break or fail. Consistency. If we enter same input and process, a computer will produce the same result each time. Storage. A computer can store huge amount of data. Communication. Most computers today can communicate with other computers using cable, even wirelessly also. Accuracy. Since computer is programmed where whatever input we enter, it gives the result accurately. Diligence. The computer can work for hours without a break. Even this efficiency is not affected. Versatility. We can use computer to perform completely different type of work at same time. Limitation of computers. A computer cannot replace a human being. It cannot think more than what it performs or what program for, cannot take a decision in particular situation on its own. Human beings can perceive a some changes in some situation and take different approach on the base on their experience and wisdom. Disadvantages. Impact on labor force. Computer based on machines can do multiple tasks, hence reducing numbers of labor, and this increase unemployment. Privacy. Personal and confidential records, if not protected properly, may get vaulted and identifiers may get stolen. Different types of identities which are stored and different types of main data which are stored in your computer, it may get stolen by someone else. Health risk. It This occurs when prolonged or improper use of computer impact on environment. Computer manufacturing process are depleting natural resources as polluting environment. Computer waste or rewasted is major concern today. So my dear kids, what we learned today, we learned as like advantages of computer, then limitation of computer, disadvantages of computer. Then we categorize of computer as like mainframe computer, mini computer, supercomputer. As like we learned about generation of computer, also first generation of computer, second generation of computer, and so on. So thank you, my dear kids.